Last 15 seconds. Habol kayo. Or I can add more time para baka nahirapan kayo. Okay. Okay, so it's Didi who got who's on our top three. Top one pala. And then D and Aya. Congratulations for the first question. So how many got the correct answer? 79 out of 120 you answered got the correct answer. So if you notice, the the retina is arranged cleanly into 10 layers. So out of the 10, there are three cellular layers, no? Which is very important in the phototransduction reflex. So as the light strikes the retina, it first, so what's the correct answer ba? So it first hyperpolarizes the photoreceptor, and then after that, it it polarizes the bipolar cells and then the ganglion cells. No? So the correct answer is this one. So it's the photoreceptor, bipolar cells, and the ganglion cells. So pero ang unang na ang unang na ang unang na hyperpolarize is the photoreceptor. No? So that's innermost cellular layer. And then the middle cellular layer is your bipolar cells. And then the light signal is transduced to the ganglion cells, which forms the, which has the, which its axons becomes the retinal nerve fiber layers, and then becomes your optic nerve, and then becomes your optic tract, and then finally goes to transmit the signal to your occipital lobe. Okay? So, ang mali dito, RPE cells are not part of the cellular neuron relay system. Okay? Okay. Next. So, but, dun sa dun sa full thickness of your retina, you have a set of cells that spans the whole thickness of the retina. So, these are your Mueller cells, no? So, Mueller cells, cellular din siya, pero yung haba niya is spans the whole thickness of the retina. So, it's a supporting cell and it serves as the scaffold for your retina. So, yun yung unique na function ng Mueller cells within your retinal layers. Okay, so this is how the light is um, gen- stimulates your retina. So it passes first through your innermost layer, and your photoreceptors, your rods and cones, are your outermost cellular layer. And then the signal is transmitted pabaliktad naman, pa-inner. So from the inner cells, from the outer cells, sorry, pa-inner. And then yung pinaka nagdadala is your retinal nerve fiber, which is the axons of your ganglion cells. Okay? So next. Next question. Yung questions, hindi ko pala makikita sa Viber, sa Zoom chat box kasi naka-share screen ako. You can turn on your microphones na lang po. So I can answer or address your questions. Okay. So 61 of you answered correctly. Okay. Leading na pa rin si ZZ. Okay, so it's the RPE. So the RPE in my lecture has 10 unique functions. One of it is keeping the subretinal space dry. Okay, so the RPE, very unique siya kasi it's a single layered cell, no, unicellular layer siya. And um, it has a lot of function. Meron siyang basal and apical surfaces. And siya yung walang actual connection of your retina onto the RPE. Kumbaga, there's a potential space between your retina and the RPE. So hindi talaga sila connected by any linkages, no, or any organic connection. But since the RPE has pump, it pumps out fluid out of the subretinal space. Kaya dehydrated yung space na yon. So that's what makes the retina or the photoreceptors, which is the innermost layer of the retina, attached to the RPE. No? So the RPE also serves as the retinal blood barrier, no? So in such a way that the fenestrated vessels of your choroid, so marami kang plasma fluid doon within your choroid kasi fenestrated yung vessels mo. But since the RPE is connected by tight junctions, hindi nakakalusot yung fluid from your choroidal circulation onto the retina. So ano siya, aside from the pump, it also is connected by tight junctions. Kaya walang space wherein normally, physiologically, na lumulusot yung fluid. So in abnormal conditions, such as age-related macular degeneration, wherein your RPE is impaired, nagkakaroon ng seepage of fluid from your choroid onto the subretinal space. Kaya abnormal, merong abnormal vision ng patient. At the same time, if the retina has breaks, so may butas sa retina, so the fluid from inside the vitreous cavity, so the fluid can seep through the butas or the break in the retina, detaches the fluid can detach the retina from the RPE. So this time, yung pump ng RPE that is supposed to be pumping fluid out of the subretinal space is overwhelmed. Hindi niya kayang i-pump na dry yung space kasi may fluid na pumapasok, no? So hindi niya kinakaya. So kaya nagde-detach yung retina, no? So very important function siya ng RPE. At the same time, if you listen to the lecture, RPE is also responsible in the recycling of your photoreceptor disc. So, part din siya ng light transduction. So, it has a function in the photoreceptor health, no, in such a way that it recycles the disc. Okay, so next question. You can press on the YouTube video so you can see it properly. For added time para you can So when the question indicates check all the answer, you have to check if there is more than one correct answer, and then you press the arrow to submit your answer. So I added 15 more minutes. So this is an example of a retina surgery wherein there is an endo-illuminator, the one on the right. So it illuminates the cutter and the retina. The cutter is the one on the left, the instrument on the left. Now, if you notice, meron siyang puti na molecule or puti na substance. The white stuff is triamcinolone. We inject it to mark the vitreous gel. No? So it sticks on the collagen fibers of the vitreous. Okay, so D is now the leading scorer. So 48 or 32% of you answered the correct answer. Answered correctly. Okay? So where is the attachment of the vitreous gel? Normally, lalo na kung bata pa, the vitreous gel is attached on the macula on the optic nerve, on the retinal vessels, no? And the fourth one is the ora serrata. It's attached to the termination of the retina, no? The RPE is the outermost layer of the retina. So hindi siya imposible siyang ma-attach dun sa RPE kasi nasa loob siya eh. Okay? So if you study on the retinal layers, the vitreous is gel is the one inside the vitreous cavity. Okay? So it's supposed to be adjacent to the inner layer of your retina. So the innermost layer of the retina is your ILM, kaya dun siya naka-attach. Pero specifically, in some regions, may attachment siya on the ILM. So sa optic nerve, attached siya. Sa macula, attached yung gel. Sa retinal vessels, attached din siya. And sa ora serrata, no? So the YouTube video shows you an example of a retina surgery. So you just enlarge it in your screen. If you notice, maybe yung puti, it is nakadikit on the optic nerve. Ayan. So, yan. So, ibig sabihin may vitreous gel ka on the optic nerve. It's also attached on the middle of in between your vascular arcade. So, it has attachments on the retina. Sorry, on the macula. At the same time, it's known to be attached on the retinal vessels. This is the part of the retina surgery wherein we try to detach. Ayan, na-detach na yung vitreous gel on the retina. So we are trying, vitrectomy kasi is retina surgery wherein we cut and aspirate the vitreous. So yun yung nangyari dun sa video, no? So the vitreous that is the cortical vitreous attached or the hyaloidal vitreous attached on the surface of the retina has to be detached para we gain access on the retinal surface. Kasi kung nandun si vitreous gel, hindi namin magigain access. Hindi namin ma-operahan yung retina itself. Okay, so the next question is, we can start answering. Ay, lubat. Okay, see. Wait lang ha. So the question goes, a 25-year-old male came into the clinic due to sudden onset of painless blurring vision. Few hours, nasiko si patient. So the patient nagkaroon ng blunt ocular injury kasi nasiko, no? So the left eye had blurring of vision. The vision was only 2400. And this is the fundus photo of the left eye. So it has vitreous hemorrhage. So which of the following is false? Okay, so the vitreous gel absorbs some of the blood force. So that is true. No? Kasi that is one of the functions of the vitreous gel. It's it is supposed to absorb the shock, no? That an eye can be parang applied on. Tapos rear vision is due or caused by the blockage of the light transduction. That is also true. Kasi if you see the photo, there's a large or dense hemorrhage covering the macula. And the macula subserves the central vision. So nakabara yung yung blood dun sa macula. So that's why walang makita si patient masyado. Tapos, ito, the retina surrounding the hemorrhage appears to be attached to the Brooks membrane and the choroid. Okay, so that is also true kasi if you notice, the retina dun sa paligid ng hemorrhage is um, you can see clearly the vessels running straightly. There are no corrugation, hindi naka-fold-fold yung retina. You can also appreciate the choroidal vessels which appear as parang tigroid or tiger prints no, behind your retina. So this is true. So what is false is OCT may help in determining visual prognosis at this point of the examination. This is false because yung yung OCT is a non-invasive retinal diagnostic procedure that can image the cross-sectional view of your retina, but it requires good view of the retina. Dapat walang media opacity. Otherwise, hindi niya may image yung layers ng retina kasi may media opacity. So at this point, requesting for an OCT is not necessary and it would be magastos lang to the patient kasi nga hindi mo naman may image yung retina behind the hemorrhage. So the media opacity or the blood precludes the view of the um macula, na? So yung OCT is part of the lecture. So we can review on it later on. So this one naman is on B-scan or ultrasound of the eye. So I'll add 15 seconds. Ang dami na. Okay. So congratulations to Sean and Angela in number 1. No? So humahabol sila. Okay. So the question goes, patient in the previous question, this is referring to the patient on the previous question pa rin. So there are no deformities, hematoma, and paresthesia. The EOMs or the extraocular movement exhibit full range of motion. The anterior chamber examination is also unremarkable. So ibig sabihin walang problema externally. The most helpful diagnostic imaging for this patient in the previous number is pinakita ko na nga sa video. Pinakita ko na ito. This is an example of B-scan ultrasound of the eye. So, ultrasound siya of the eye, different but the same sa OB ultrasound. Now, different in such a way na higher yung frequency ng ultrasound waves. Ibig sabihin, mas well-defined yung structures compared to an OB ultrasound. But since higher frequency, shorter wavelength, ano siya, mas mababa yung penetration. Penetration naman sa eye, since it's a small organ, hindi naman kailangan malalim unlike sa OB ultrasound. So parang 10 megahertz yung ultrasound, no? So the structures appear as black and white, either parang meron kang hyper or hypoechoic structures, no? So ang normal kasi, the vitreous cavities should be anechoic. Ibig sabihin, wala ka dapat white floating structures inside. So the ultrasound depicted white or hyperechoic mobile structures within the retina, which can represent tawag dito, which can represent the hemorrhage, no, seen on the fundus photo. So the correct answer should be ultrasound. So these are two important diagnostic procedures that we can request in patients with retinal problems. So the OCT, but OCT, kailangan for it to be useful, kailangan merong clear view of the retina. Okay, and then it's a non-invasive procedure that can image the layers of the retina, but tawag dito, ay sorry naman tayo. Sorry, na-disconnect ako sa Zoom. Wait lang ha. Okay, start na tayo ulit. Hmm. So let's proceed, no? So kaya OCT and B-scan are two important retina diagnostic procedures that we request to um check or to image the retina, no? If there is poor view of the posterior pole or the retina in cases like merong media opacity, like merong hemorrhage na nakaharang sa view of the retina, B-scan is what we request, no? Kasi pag FA is another diagnostic procedure then discussed in my lecture. it shows po the blood vessel flow, no, of your retinal vessels. But kailangan din maganda yung view of the retina. Walang media opacity na nakaharang. Okay, so next. So this is an example of traumatic vitreous hemorrhage. Sorry for the wrong spelling. Kulang ng A. Now, the OCT, as I've mentioned, kailangan good view. But it's a very nice then diagnostic procedure that can image the cross-sectional layers of the retina. So it can through alternating light and dark lines, it can image the different layers of the retina nicely, like in this photo, no? So usually the cellular cells are um hyperreflective, more hyporeflective, sorry, compared to your fiber or fibrous cells or plexiform layers, plexiform layers, except for the RPE, which is nicely arranged into a single layer of cells. So uniform, maganda ang kanyang arrangement. That's why it reflects light very good, kaya hyperreflective yung RPE. So, among the cellular layers, yung RPE cells lang yung hyperreflective. The rest, yung ganglion cells, photoreceptor, your bipolar cells are relatively hyporeflective compared to your um, the axoplasmic or plexiform layers. Okay, so what OCT does is a light or a laser light is shined or shown onto the retinal surface, and then the each layer of the retina reflects light differently, no? So meron silang unique light reflectance index. So the reflected light ng bawat isang layer, kasi unique yung pag-reflect back niya ng light, is collected by a spectrophotometer and then arranged in this image. An image of this like this is formed, no, based on the different light reflectance of the retinal layers. Okay, so we have for our next set of questions is a case about a 23-year-old female diagnosed with type 1 diabetes for already 12 years. And patient has poor control, no? Shown on the reflected by the HbA1c, which is 12. Kasi normal is less than 6, no? And then the patient has good systemic blood pressure, normal hematocrit, but the platelet is low. And patient also is observed to have albuminuria. Okay, for the next question, which of the following is a risk or are risk factors for developing diabetic retinopathy present in the patient? Check all the correct answers. Habol yung iba. Okay. Sige. So si Shan ang nasa top 1. Okay. So in this case, dyslipidemia, hypertension, and hyperglycemia are the known risk factors. Pero, correction, kasi patient is a type 1 diabetic. Most of the time, pag type 1, BP is not a risk factor. No? Hypertension is not a risk factor. Pero, generally, pag diabetic, lalo na type 2, risk factors for the development or progression of diabetic retinopathy would be una hyperglycemia. So it has been found out that A1C of less than 7 would be beneficial in preventing progression of diabetic retinopathy. Second, hypercholesteremia is also known to be a risk factor. So or abnormal lipid control of the patient is known to worsen, no? Known to have increased risk of worsening of diabetic retinopathy. And also, a big study on diabetic retinopathy, or we call it the ETDRS study. It's a landmark study for diabetic retinopathy, yung early ET, early treatment diabetic retinopathy study, shows that yung effect ng platelet doesn't matter. So, hindi nagmamatter if we give aspirin or not in patients with DR. No? In terms of DR, per aspirin is protective for stroke, no, in cardiovascular studies, or um but in terms of sa retinopathy, walang effect si aspirin. So, platelet also is known to have no effect on the development and progression of diabetic retinopathy. But it's the hematocrit. So, patients with low hematocrit, no? So, ibig sabihin, their oxygen binding potential ng red blood cells nila is also low. So, diabetic retinopathy is known kasi to progress when there is increased ischemia, no, of the retina. So, the more ischemic the retina is because of the um, damaged blood vessels or damaged capillaries due to the withstanding or long-standing hyperglycemia. So, nag-i-increase yung ischemia within the retina. Tapos, i-increase yung VEGF, mag-i-increase yung neovascularization, no? Risk na neovascularization. So, yung low hematocrit is also known, tawag dito, worsen the ischemia of the retina kasi nga low yung oxygen binding niya. That's why it makes sense na pag mababa yung hematocrit, mas lumalala din yung diabetic retinopathy. Okay, so platelet yung incorrect answer. Okay, so for the for the next case, 72-year-old na yung patient. Tapos type 2 diabetic na siya this time, no? Per the same, um, uncontrolled yung hypertension, dyslipidemic siya. A1C is pangit din, 9, but normal yung hematocrit and borderline platelet. May albuminuria din siya. Patient is suffering from progressive painless blurring of vision of both eyes, and vision is only 20/80 for both eyes. So the next question is, patient was diagnosed to have severe NPDR on the left. So you see the photo, which of the following is not observed on the left fundus? So severe NPDR siya. So what you see if you um, enlarge the photo, you would see exudates which appear as yellow intraretinal patches. So nag-exudate siya, ibig sabihin meron kang hyperpermeability of your capillaries, and then leaky yung capillaries. So nagli-leak out, no, yung plasma along with other lipid materials. Kaya siya nag-appear as yellowish. No? So meron kang plasma leakage kasi nga impaired yung retinal endothelium cells mo. You also have hemorrhages, no? Yung mga red dots. Okay. Sige. Okay. So si Sean pa rin yung top 1, Angela and Hordiolum. Okay. Sige. So 48 of you answered correctly, no? Kasi ang na po yung diagnosis. It's severe non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy. And this is what you usually see in patients with severe. Maraming hemorrhages, no? Yung mga either dot and blot red patches, sometimes flame shape. May flame shape hemorrhage siya dito, oh. Lakihan nga natin. So, yan. So, meron kang flame-shaped hemorrhages. Meron kang hard exudates, yung yellow. Pag medyo puti, tapos ill-defined, that's soft exudates naman. These are your soft exudates. Ito, soft exudates. And you also have red dots, which appear as, your microaneurysms appear as red dots. So, yan, mga microaneurysms. So, they're outpouching of your retinal capillaries. Okay? So, ang wala is neovascularization. Kasi retinal neovascularization, meron ka nito if the stage is already proliferative, no? Kaya siya proliferative kasi nag-proliferate na yung abnormal retinal vessels or neovascularization. In this case, non-proliferative pa siya. So, ang pathognomonic or ang landmark feature ng proliferative would be abnormal vessels on the retina or on the disc. So, we call it neovascularization. Okay, kaya yun yung sagot dito na accept. Okay, next question. The patient on the day of consult noted sudden onset of floaters on the right eye naman. So the next question is, the fundus of the right eye is shown on the photo. There are abnormal vascular networks inferior to the optic nerve. So these are yung neovascularization that I mentioned earlier. Okay. So let's enlarge para makita nyo. So there are tortuous, abnormally looking blood vessels on inferior to the disc. Na? So ito yung normal, sort of normal. Dapat hindi siya ganun kakulubot. Okay? Inferior to the disc. Tapos, sinabi niya rin is, meron din siyang vitreous hemorrhage on the inferior periphery, so not shown on the photo. So what stage is the diabetic retinopathy of the right eye? So if you're listening earlier, you will get this question. Last 15 seconds. I hope everybody can habol. Okay, thank you for answering. So I think we still have the same top 3 students, no? So the correct answer is PDR. Diba? If you listened earlier, so meron na siyang abnormal vessel. So pag abnormal vessel, meron ng abnormal vessels, PDR na yun. No, kasi proliferative. Maski ang batayan ng pag-diagnose ng PDR is the moment may abnormal vessels na, PDR na siya kagad. Maski hindi pa ganun kadami yung nakikita mong hemorrhage. Basta may abnormal vessels ka, PDR na or proliferative diabetic retinopathy. So there are different stages of diabetic retinopathy. So first, the patient, yung milder forms would be non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, wherein you have vessel changes, no, on the retina. So mild would say, when you say mild non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, you would have microaneurysms, no, on your retina, but not more than 20 microaneurysms. Your severe, no, non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy would, if severe na siya, it would follow, or it would fit on the 4-to-1 severe rule, no, DR rule. So yung 4-to-1, ibig sabihin, if patient has 4 quadrants na meron ng microaneurysm, severe na yon. Or patient has 2 quadrants of venous beading. Ibig sabihin, ito venous beading, yung parang beaded, parang ng, ang retinal veins mo ay para siyang chorizo, beaded na siya. Ibig sabihin, hindi na maganda yung outflow sa retina mo. So, yun yung venous beading. Or 1 quadrant of IRMA, intraretinal microvascular abnormalities. Okay, so pag na-follow niya yung 4-to-1 rule, severe na siya. In between the 4-to-1 rule and the mild, that would be moderate. So, ibig sabihin, more than 20 microaneurysms, meron ka ng hemorrhages, pero hindi pa ganun ka widespread as the 4-to-1 rule. And then, if the patient has neovascularization na elsewhere, ibig sabihin, elsewhere on the retina or on the disc, PDR na siya. So, what causes the progression to PDR? It's really the upregulation of your VEGF. No? So, ang pinaka-earliest clinical abnormality of diabetic retinopathy would be your microaneurysm. So, ang nangyayari, because of long-standing hyperglycemia, the endothelium of your retinal capillaries become weak, they weaken, and then nagkakaroon ng outpouching. So kaya siya nagkakaroon ng aneurysm or microaneurysms kasi maliliit. Sa retinal capillary siya nangyayari. And then it also increased the leakiness of your retinal capillaries. So over time, these capillaries occlude, no? Kasi the walls weaken and they become occluded, causing your retinal ischemia. And then the retinal ischemia upregulates your VEGF, which in turn causes neovascularization or angiogenesis. No? Kaya nagpa-progress to PDR. So the more ischemic the retina is, the higher the chance mag-progress to PDR. So the patient was, this patient, yung 72-year-old female na type 2 diabetic, ang pinakaunang naging consult niya was during this time, nung lumabo na yung both eyes niya. So following question is related to this info. So duration of diabetes is a strong risk factor for the development of DR. Timely screening and intervention may prevent severe visual loss. So when should have been the patient seen, no, to have her first eye exam? So what is the recommended screening for diabetic retinopathy or timing of screening for diabetic retinopathy? So this is important kasi diabetes is an epidemic already in our country. So most likely you have relatives who are diabetic. So for my lecture today, kung wala man kayong maalala sa buong lecture, pero I hope this is your take-home message. Ito yung maalala nyo. So you can apply this to your family, no? Kasi some kasi patients, ang binabantayan lang yung sugar, no? Blood sugar. Nagpapacheck lang sila sa IM or endo. But napapabayaan yung eyes. Kaya majority of my patients, I'm a retina specialist. I do surgeries on patients with severe diabetic retinopathy, yung malabo na talaga yung mata. And most of the time, yung loss of vision nila could have been prevented if nakita sila earlier. Okay? But only 32% of you answered correctly. No? So, dapat by now, alam nyo na pag type 2 diabetic si patient, wait lang. Pag type 2 diabetic si patient, yung OFTA exam should be done by the time patient was diagnosed with type 2. Okay? So kasi we don't wait for visual symptoms to commence kasi pag meron ng visual symptoms, that can be too late na. Kagaya nung nangyari sa patient. Previously malinaw, tas biglang lumabo kasi pumutok na yung ugat. No? Kasi mild diabetic retinopathy can have no symptoms. Walang mararamdaman na visual loss si patient. Even PDR, proliferative diabetic retinopathy, pwedeng magkaroon ng 20/20 vision despite of patient having PDR. And then one day, magugulat sila, wala nang makita kasi may pumutok na na ugat. Okay, so symptoms are not the batayan for screening. Okay, and diabetic retinopathy is the leading cause of blindness among middle-aged individuals, no, and older individuals. And it can be prevented. Blindness from DR can be prevented if na-screen on time, nakita early, and na-treat early. Okay, so it's very hard to see patients na, like kahapon yung patient ako, 40 years old lang, both eyes wala na siyang vision kasi too late na siya nagpa-check. So if you have relatives na diabetic, make sure na to ask them, type 2 po ba kayo? Pag type 2, pa-check na kaagad kung hindi pa nagpapacheck. No? They should have undergone complete eye exam, including dilated retina exam, by the time they were diagnosed with type 2. Why? Because pag type 2 diabetic, usually, hindi naman sila nadadiagnose at the moment na nag-hyperglycemia sila. So kasi 'di ba, first few years na hyperglycemic si patients, unless nasa-screen sila yearly, nagpapa-FBS sila yearly, asymptomatic, wala silang nararamdaman sa katawan. Yung triad ng polyuria, polyphagia, lumalabas yan pag medyo matagal na silang hyperglycemia. And it took it only takes around 5 years, no, para magkaroon ng effect sa retina. 5 years of hyperglycemia para magkaroon ng effect sa retina ang diabetes. And 5 years of glycemia si patients, usually wala silang nararamdaman. So if the patient came in and was diagnosed with type 2, tas 200 na yung FBS nila, ibig sabihin nun ba kahapon lang sila nag 200? No. So yung hyperglycemia nila has been there already but undiagnosed because it's asymptomatic for maybe more than 5 years na, no? But different pagka type 1 si patient. Pag type 1 si patient, um, ang type 1 kasi diabetics, meron silang insulin deficiency na, di ba? Wala na talaga silang insulin. So very acute ang symptom nila. In patients with type 1 diabetic, talaga ang hyperglycemic instances nila, very symptomatic. So they get diagnosed right away. So that's why yung DM diagnosis nila is acute, no? Nakikita din kaagad. That's why we can wait 5 years bago sila mag-eye exam kasi it takes naman 5 years nga for diabetic retinopathy to develop. 5 years of hyperglycemia. Okay, so definitely, hindi dependent on symptoms, no? Kaya nga screening, kasi wala pang symptom, pinapacheck mo na. So, ask your relatives if meron silang diabetes and if nagpa-check na sila sa eyes. Okay, next, let's proceed to the next question. A patient naman now is admitted to ICU because of preeclampsia. So, this is how the retina looks like. So, it was referred kasi meron siyang severe visual loss. Siguro 2400 lang yung vision nitong patient. So please answer. Okay. Very good. Sige. So, the correct answer is optic disc edema. No? So, hypertension also has ocular manifestation. And pag hypertensive si patients, yung increased basal tone of your arteries is also transmitted to the arteries of your retina. Kaya ang first sign ng hypertensive retinopathy is constricted yung artery mo or meron kang atherosclerosis din. So pag lumiit yung arteries mo, yung normal na arteriovenous ratio na 2:3, nagiging 1:2. So, meron kang constriction or generalized constriction of your arteries, stage 1 yon. Pag stage 2 is pag may focal constriction ka. Usually, on the areas na nakapatong yung AV crossing defect, kung saan nakapatong yung artery and vein. Focal areas, stage 2 na yon, no? So, ano ba example ng focal area? Like here. So, ito, generally, ang liit ng artery compared to your vein. So, 1:2 na siya. So, at least stage 1 na to, hypertensive retinopathy. Pero if you zoom in here, dito sa baba, wherein nakapatong si artery sa vein, mapapansin mo, parang nag-constrict, parang nag-nick yung dulo ng vein. Kasi, nadidiinan siya ng artery dahil sa taas ng systemic blood pressure. So, these are examples of focal AV crossing defects. So, stage 2 na siya. Tapos, pag meron siyang hemorrhages and exudates, ibig sabihin meron ka ng problema sa vascular hyperpermeability. No? Nagdudugo na sa taas ng blood pressure. Pag meron ka ng hemorrhages, that's at least stage 3. So, ito, malamang at least stage 3 siya kasi ang dami niya ng flame-shaped hemorrhages, meron pa siyang exudate sa macula. But if pati yung nerve mo na mamaga na, namamaga yung nerve kasi constricted na yung blood flow to your nerve. Stage 4 na yon. So this shows an ill-defined nerve. Hindi mo kita yung borders ng nerve, no? So kasi magang-maga siya. So in this case, meron siyang optic nerve edema. Okay, so pag meron ng optic nerve edema, stage 4 hypertensive retinopathy na siya. We usually see this in patients with hypertensive urgency, like in the case of preeclampsia, no? So pag sobrang tumaas yung blood pressure, nagsi-stage 4 hypertensive retinopathy. And it has been found out that patients with hypertensive retinopathy stage 4, merong correlation to increased mortality, no? So yung optic nerve edema, which is uniquely found in patients with hypertensive stage 4, may increased mortality sila. Okay? Okay, next question. Ayan, if you were listening earlier, the following features are, the following are features of grade 2 pala in this stage, grade 2 hyperintensive retinopathy except. So if you were listening earlier. Okay, last 15 seconds. Habol yung iba para hindi nyo makalimutan yung staging or yung grading ng hypertensive retinopathy. Okay, last. Okay, very good. Congrats ulit sa tatlo. Okay, the correct answer is vascular leakage. Tama ba? Tama ba yung answer, Kiko? 31%. Okay, very good. Tama naman yung answer, Kiko. Okay, so as mentioned, 'di ba, yung systemic um increase in BP, no? Yung sympathetic increase in basal tone of your arteries. Kasi magko-constrict yung arteries, diba, in response to high BP, high pressure. So, meron kang, pag stage 1, generalized. So, ito yung example ng focal constriction of your artery or focal defects, no? Meron kang nadidiinan na vein, kaya ka merong AV crossing defect. So at least ito, stage 2. Stage 2 to siya. So, meron kang arteriosclerosis din pag meron kang grade 1 and 2. What you don't have is vascular leakage. Pag may vascular leakage ka na in the form of exudates and in the form of retinal hemorrhages. Most of the time, flame-shaped hemorrhages. Grade 3 na yon. Kaya ang sagot sa ICSEP is vascular leakage. Okay? So, very common sa clinic ko, mga patients na nagpapa-check up for ano lang, kunwari, incidental finding lang. Most of the time, ang pinapacheck lang nila, makati yung mata nila kasi nagda-dry eyes. And then when I look at their retina, 1:2 yung AV ratio nila. Tapos sabihin ko, nag-BP po ba kayo? Hindi sila nagpapa-BP. Tapos pinapa-BP ko sa clinic, 180/100, no? So, we can see there are systemic diseases that have ocular manifestation. And that's what we do in the clinics. We screen for these systemic manifestations. Ocular manifestations ng systemic disease para we can advise patient to have their problems checked, no? Kasi the retina, this is only the only organ in your body wherein you can actually visualize a nerve, no? Where else in your body can you see a nerve? Wala. So the optic nerve is visually present, no? When you do fundoscopy, you can actually see blood vessels on the retina. Kaya marami kaming nakikita na pwedeng systemic diseases na may signs sa mata. One of these is, yun nga, hypertension and especially diabetes. May mga number of patients din ako na unknown na sa kanila na may diabetes sila, tapos may nakita akong microaneurysm. So, doon lang sila nagpapacheck ng sugar. Okay? So, next. So, branch vein occlusion naman is a complication of hypertensive retinopathy or complications of hypertension. Okay? So, ang nangyayari, merong nababara na vein, no? May vein na nababara because of the common pathophysiology of BRVO. So, ano ang true regarding branch vein occlusion on these options, of these options? If you, may clue if you enlarge the photo, pero hindi siya masyadong kita. Saan siya nagbara? Okay, habol yung iba, 60 plus na lang yung sumasagot. Okay, we have this same top three. Congratulations. Sige, pero marami namang sagot. At least 41 of you answered correctly, no? So, ang branch vein occlusion, yung isang branch of your retinal vein became occluded. That's why yung outflow ng deoxygenated blood from the capillaries to the vein is obstructed. Kaya nagkakaroon ng pagdudugo kasi merong resistance to outflow, no? Nagbo-burst yung mga retinal vessels. That's why maraming hemorrhages on the retina. Okay? So when it's branched, the most common pathophysiology is the occlusion occurs, no? Or meron kang occlusion of your retinal vein kung saan may nakapatong na artery or doon sa AV crossing defects na pinapakita ko kanina. No? Yung kung saan yung may artery, may nakapatong si artery sa vein. Because these areas wherein nagko-cross ang artery ang vein, both vein and artery share the same adventitial sheath. Okay, so kung mataas ang pressure on the artery kasi mataas yung BP, yung mataas na BP na yon can be transmitted on the vein kasi nga same sila ng balot. No? So whatever the BP, kunwari 250 ang systolic BP, yung pressure na yon nadidiinan na yung vein sa ilalim niya. Kaya nagkakaroon ng vein occlusion. No? So yun yung tamang sagot. So occlusion occurs most commonly on the AV crossing defect kasi they share the same adventitial sheath. Retinal hemorrhages seen on all quadrants is not correct because branch vein nga. Meron ka lang pagdudugo dun sa branch kung saan may bumara. Now, in this case, yung superolateral or superotemporal branch of the left retinal vein yung nagbara. Kaya ito lang yung portion na may dugo. No? If you look at the interior portion, walang hemorrhages. So the retinal veins appear constricted. This is also false kasi pag vein occlusion, since meron kang decrease in outflow, dahil doon, the retinal veins become engorged, no? Yung distal part ng obstruction, nagiging engorged yung retinal vein. Kasi nga hindi nakakalabas yung deoxygenated blood. So the retinal veins during vein occlusion, normally, ano sila, dilated and tortuous because of the obstruction to outflow. Multiple embolies are most commonly seen at the retinal capillaries. No, most of the time, pag vein occlusion, thrombotic yung phenomenon, yung cause ng obstruction. Pag embolic, most likely retinal artery or ang point ng obstruction, no? Pag embolic naman. Okay, so next case. We're down to our last 4 slides. So, patient with leukemia, elevated ang severely elevated ang factor W niya, suddenly developed counting fingers vision. Fundus findings include severely elevated ang WBC niya, na may leukemia siya. So, ibig sabihin, viscous ang dugo niya kasi sobrang dami niyang WBC. Tapos, fundus findings include ill-defined hyperemic disc. You have a lot of hemorrhages on all quadrants. The retinal veins are tortuous and dilated. So, which of the following statement is true? So, clue. The diagnosis for this patient is central retinal vein occlusion. Na? So, yung description is very pathognomonic of CRVO, wherein marami hemorrhages are seen in all quadrants. All the retinal veins are dilated and tortuous. Okay, so top 3, habol yung iba. Kung makakahabol, sayang ang Starbucks gift cert na kukunin kay Sir Patrick on Wednesday. Kasi pupunta ako sa clinic ng Tuesday. So, the correct answer is thrombosis of the central retinal vein is most probably secondary to hyperviscosity syndrome. That's the correct answer. Kasi yun yung nakalagay, yun yung risk factor na indicated on dun sa patient. So, emboli of the ICA has blocked the central retinal vein. Again, pag pag venous obstruction, hindi siya embolic. Embolic obstruction would be retinal artery. So, kung may emboli ka sa ICA, ang nangyayari most of the time, meron kang ophthalmic artery obstruction or central retinal artery obstruction. So, embolic occlusion of the central retinal vein occurred at the level of the lamina cribosa. So, if kasama to sa exam, Tessman strip would work, no? Again, pag venous occlusion, thrombotic and not embolic. But thrombosis at the level of the lamina cribosa, yun yung area ng sclera kung saan pumapasok yung central retinal vein and artery mo, doon sa optic nerve. Usually, doon nangyayari yung thrombosis, no? Sa level of the lamina cribosa pag CRVO. Ang mali dito is embolic na word. Okay? Tapos, thrombus formation had most likely occurred at the optic nerve head. So, mas tama yung level of the lamina curvosa, no? But the most correct answer would be hyperviscosity syndrome kasi meron kang thrombosis, no? At the level of the lamina curvosa. Kaya ka nagkaroon ng thrombosis kasi mabagal yung blood flow because hyperviscous yung blood mo secondary to the severely elevated white blood cell count. Okay? So, meaning to say, hyperviscosity syndrome in patients that can happen in patients with leukemia or patients with cancer, pwede sila din magka-CRVO. Okay, so next question. Also related to complication of hypertension on the retina. So the patient is a 65-year-old male brought to the ER due to sudden loss of vision, 2 hours duration. One day prior, patient noted transient graying of vision lasting for 10 seconds. Tapos, nung chinek siya, then finally, a day after, wala na talaga siyang vision. No? Baka NLP niya siya, ay light perception lang siya. What is your primary emergency management? So the diagnosis for this case is one of the two true ocular emergency, wherein you should know, lalo na of the resident, should know the emergency management. Okay. Congrats, Sean, Cordulum, and Angela. The correct answer is you have to dislodge the embolus more distal para you convert the CRAO to a BRAO from a central AO to a branch AO. So how do we do it? We make the eye very soft. So we puncture the eye. We do an anterior chamber paracentesis to let out aqueous fluid para sobrang maging soft yung eye, para the systemic blood pressure can push the emboli further down the road, para hindi ang central retinal artery yung barado. I-convert mo siya to a brow, no? Kasi nga embolic siya most of the time. Okay? So, yun yung emergent. The diagnosis for this case is central retinal artery occlusion. So, this is a classic case of the cherry red spot wherein the pale retina, no, enhances the reddish fovea or the area of the retina na walang retinal nerve fiber layer, which is the fovea, kaya siya cherry red spot, no? Kaya siya pale kasi wala kang arterial supply. Namamatay yung retinal nerve fiber layers, namamaga yung retinal nerve fiber layers. So this is a case of crow. So, lahat ng residents, alam nila na pag may crow sa ER, tutusukin namin yung mata para sobrang lumambot. Okay, so anterior chamber paracentesis ang term. Okay, for the last two questions, you have a patient na 50-year-old male, highly myopic, mataas yung minus grade niya, tapos walang ibang sakit. And then came into the clinic because of sudden onset of blurring of vision and no pain. So the visual disturbance is described as first seeing flashes of lights at the periphery, so parang may kidlat-kidlat, and then floaters. He also noted dark enlarging spot at the inferior field of the inferior visual field. So what is the most appropriate management for the patient? If you were to see this patient at the ER, no, kung ikaw ang ER resident on duty, what would you do? Would you send the patient home? Would you refer the patient to an internist? Would you refer the patient to an to the ophtha resident on duty? Or would you do immediate eye irrigation at the ER? Thank you for joining. Sorry na lowbat yung iPad ko. Pero, sino yung top 3? Hindi ko na natuloy yung last question. Sige, everybody turn off your cameras muna. Tapos yung matitira, yung top 3. Si Sean, si Hordiulum, tsaka si Angela pa rin ba? Yung nasa leaderboard. Okay. Can I see? Sige, turn off your cameras po. Tapos ang matitira yung top 3. Para I'll take note. Sige, congratulations to the top 3. So the last answer to the question would be you have to refer the patient to to the ophthalmology resident on duty. because um, that was a case that the symptoms described is very is the classic symptom for a patient suffering with a retinal detachment, no? So, yun yung nangyayari yun yung nararamdaman ng patient if suddenly nag-detach yung retina. Una, may flickering or flashes of light. Pangalawa, nagkakaroon ng floaters. Pangatlo, meron kang severe visual loss kasi nga nagkakaskotoma dun sa area kung saan detached na yung retina. Okay? Any questions at this point? So you can type in your questions on the chat box na. Please screenshot yung yung kukuha ng price, yung Starbucks GC. Kailangan i-prove nyo kay Sir Patrick na kayo yon yung top 3. Pwede niyong kunin sa off the office 8 o'clock to 5 p.m. on Wednesday. Congratulations. Thank you for staying on and answering all the questions. Sige, may tanong kayo? Mahirap mahirap yung questions sa retina ha, mag-aral kayo. Sige, I'm open to questions for the next 5 minutes or 5 minutes. Kung walang magtatanong, we can end the class. No more questions? O, sino mga may relatives may diabetes? Pa-thumbs up. Okay. O, madami-dami. Sige. Pakitanong sila kung nagpa-check na sila sa mata. Kasi prevention is always better than cure. Don't wait for them to complain na malabo na yung mata nila. Sinong merong hypertension? Mga relatives. So wala naman pong screening guidelines for hypertensive retinopathy, but yun lang. Talagang advise them to control their BP kasi if not, pwede silang mag-suffer from vascular occlusion sa mata, no? So sinasabi ko para sa patients ko, warning sign yan pagka nagkaroon ka na ng, let's say, branch vein occlusion, tapos hindi pa rin sila mag-control ng BP, ibig sabihin, they might have other vascular occlusion elsewhere. So, pwede silang magka-stroke, no? Pwede silang magka-MI. No? It's an indication na hindi good control ang BP nila. Okay? Sino ang mataas yung grado sa mata? Ang mataas na grado, more than 300. Thumbs up kayo. Ayan. So, meron din. So, pag myopic ang patient, ibig sabihin their eye is elongated, no? Then compared to a patient na hindi myopic. So the elongation of the eye, yun yung elongation ng sclera. It makes the retina has to compensate also. So pag elongate ng mata, nag-tint out din yung retina sa loob. So makes the retina inside, especially near the equator, very thin. So this makes you predisposed to retinal breaks kasi nagninipis yung retina. Tapos, dun sa area ng ora serrata kung saan nakadikit ang vitreous ng mahigpit. So when you move your eye, no? So meron kang constant pulling on your retina. Kung manipis na siya, mabilis siyang mapunit. Okay, so ang ina-advise ko sa patients always na may mataas na myopia is to have their retina checked at least once a year, no? For areas ng critically thin um, areas para at least mapatibay with laser. Okay? Especially if you have symptoms na flashes of light already and floaters, magpa-check na kayo para makita yung gilid ng mata mo. Top 2 po. Wait lang ha. Doc, sa 421 po ng severe, need po ba masatisfy all? No. Need lang masatisfy isa out of the three. No? So 421 or siya. Four quadrants of or two quadrants of or. So one lang. One lang. Yung, at least one lang yung masatisfy. No more questions?